Hello, and thank you for joining us at XM.com for this Forex Preview video. I'm Christina Marujos, and joining me today is investment analyst Mario Hadjikyriacos. We'll be having a look at the Loonie and the very important jobs report out of Canada on Friday. Now, Marius, we've been seeing the Canadian dollar under pressure for some time now. It appears the currency is greatly affected what's happening in Canada's main trading partner. I'm referring to the United States, of course. Now, we have the very important jobs report out on Friday. What are we expecting to see in the numbers, and could this report help the Canadian dollar?
Hello, Christina. Well, before we look at the jobs data, let's take a small step back and examine why the loonie has been underperforming. So we've seen the Canadian currency really rebounded quite powerfully, I might add, over the recent months, but it is lagging the Australian dollar, the New Zealand dollar, which have gained much more than the loonie. Now, why is that? I think that the main reason is Canada's ties to the US market. So Canada, around 3/4 of all Canadian exports head to America. And lately we've seen investors really becoming more concerned about the US outlook. Cases are surging in some states. Some other states have closed down some businesses like bars. So we're seeing some concerns about the economic recovery in the US, and I think that is also spilling over to keep the loonie weak. We've also had some threats of the White House putting new tariffs on Canadian aluminum, and that might also be playing a role. As far as the jobs data are concerned, they are expected to be pretty solid. The Canadian economy is expected to have continued to heal, and I believe that we might even see a stronger than expected report, given that we saw something similar play out when the US released its own data, its own labor market data for this month. Now, if that happens, it could finally give a fundamental boost to the loonie, and it could be perhaps the beginning of some better times ahead.
Now, looking at the broader outlook for the loonie, though, do you think investors should be optimistic?
I actually do. In the short term, I think it's going to be a very rocky path. A lot will depend on how quickly US virus cases rise. So the next few weeks, I'm not that optimistic on. We're going to have a relatively ugly data from the US. We're going to have a potentially disastrous earnings season. So it might be a rocky ride, let's say, for the loonie. But in the longer term, and once the American virus situation is brought under control, I think that we might see a very powerful rally in the loonie. Because the currency has been underperforming so far, that means it has more scope to strengthen once sentiment turns around. And another important factor for me is that positioning by speculators on the loonie is still net short. Now that means that if we do see sentiment improving, a lot of these short sellers might start closing their negative bets out or covering them, and that might allow the loonie to shoot higher much more robustly, let's say.
Marius, thank you so much for joining me today for this Forex Preview video, and thanks for watching us at XM.com.